You're playing Genshin Impact, and then suddenly, you stumble upon this. You try to activate it with your Wind Elemental, but nothing happened. You wonder and then you try using a Fire Elemental, and suddenly, it's activated. Being the RPG Maker developer you are, you started to question yourself. Is this kind of mechanic possible in RPG Maker? Well, for those of you who are experienced, maybe yeah. But for those of you who don't know, you definitely can. And actually, it's pretty simple to do. That's why in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make an elemental based event trigger in RPG Maker. So the first thing we need to do is to make a switch for our common event because we will be using common event. So we make a switch. Let's just call the switch actor elements. Now, after setting up the switch for our common event, we will need to make switches for every single elements that you add in your game. So you can add as much as you want according to the elements in your game, but for this tutorial, I'm going to use 4 elements, so I'm going to make 4 switches for every single one of them. As you can see here, I've already made 4 switches for 4 elements that I want to add in my game: Earth, Fire, Water, and Ice. And after you set up all the switches, we can go to how to make the common event. And now we are in the common events tab, and we will set the common event for this mechanic. Let's name the common event elements trigger, set the trigger to parallel, and the switch to actor elements. So as long as the switch is turned on, this common event will run. That's why in your game, you will need to put this switch at the very beginning of your game and turn it on, because if this is turned off, then everything wouldn't work. Since this tutorial doesn't have a beginning, then I will just run the switch via a parallel process, but in your game you might want to put it at the very beginning of your game. So before we start eventing the mechanic, I want to explain the logic behind this. So basically what we are going to do is we will give every actors an element switch that we have already made before, and then we will tell the game to check whose actors is leading the party at that moment. When that actor leads the party, then the element switch of that actor is going to be activated, and the element switch of the rest will be turned off, leaving only one element switch activated. Unfortunately, RPG Maker doesn't really have any event command to check on party leader. In conditional brand, you can only check whether an actor is in the party or not. So we will do this via script call. So we go to the 4th tab of the conditional branch and call the script. The script is gameParty.leader parentheses double ampersand, and we call it again gameParty.leader parentheses dot actor ID parentheses triple equal operation and the actor ID. So basically what the script does is it will check if the party leader is actor with this ID or not. You will need to make this for every single actor or characters in your game, and since in this tutorial I'm using 4 actors, so I'll just copy it 3 more times. 1, 2, 3, and change the actor ID to 3 and 4. So in this conditional branch right here, it will check if the party leader is the actor with ID number 1 or not. In this one, it will check if the party leader is actor with ID number 2 or not, and so on. And now all we need to do is turning on and off switches inside these conditional branches. As for the actors, the first actor, right, I want to give him earth element, Priscilla water element, Gale fire element, and Michelle ice element. Now back to the common event. For the actor with ID 1, which is right, we want to give him earth element. And to give element, you simply need to go to event command and turn on the switch of the element that you want. So we want to give him earth element. So we'll turn on the earth element switch. And this will be the only switch that is turned on. The rest of the switch will be turned off. So fire element off, water element off, and ice element off. So the switch of the element, that is the actor element, is the only switch that will be turned on. The rest will be turned off. Same with the other actors. So for example, this actor with ID number 2 is Priscilla. We want to give her a water element, so we will turn off the earth element and turn on only the water element. Same with the third actor, Gale. We want to give him a fire element, so we turn off the water element and turn on the fire element. And for our last actor, Michelle, we want to give her ice element, so we turn off the fire element and turn on the ice element. And you're basically done with the common event. Now, just some tip. If your game has only a few characters, maybe under 10, then doing all this in one common event is fine. But if your game has a lot of switchable characters with different elements, then I recommend you make individual common events for every element, so it will be much easier in the long run. And now we'll make the event. To make the event is really easy. Here I already made an event called fire event. So I want this event to be activated only when it's interacted by a character with fire element. And to do that, we use conditional branch and the switch conditional. And because I want it to be activated by fire element character, then the condition will be for this fire element switch to be turned on. So if the fire element switch is on, then the event will happen. But if you want to add something, if the event is being interacted by characters that doesn't have the required element, then you can add else branch. But if you don't want anything to happen, just remove the else branch. Now, when a character with fire element interact with this event, I want it to hold the self switch and just change the sprite. This is just an example. You can do it any way you want, or this is just a very basic example. Starting is on, and there will be a text saying "you lit the fire." And I want something to happen if I don't use the required character. I want a text to show up, and the text will be "use a character with fire element." And this is basically it. This is the basic structure of how you make a elemental triggered event. Now I have already made another events for the other elements. This is for the fire, this is for the ice, this is for the water, and this is for the earth. As you can see, it uses the same structure. Here, if the ice element switch is on, here is if the water element is on, and here if the earth element switch is on. And now let's test it. And now we are in the game, so let's test it out. The first one is the fire event. Can we do it? No, because Raid is the character with Earth element, and this event requires us to use a character with Fire element, which is Gale. So let us change to Gale. And now let's do it again. And it's activated. Now let's use Gale to activate the Ice event. It can't because it requires us to use the character with Ice element, while Gale is a character with Fire element. So we need to change the character with Ice element, which is Michelle. Now let us try it again, and it's activated. You do the Ice magic. And now we try to use the character with Ice element to do the Water event. And it doesn't work. Use a character with a Water element. So we need to use a character with Water element, which is Priscilla. So let's switch to Priscilla, and let's try to do it again. You just created a fountain. And now for the last one, this is the Earth event, so you need a character that has Earth element, and Priscilla is Water, so let's try it, maybe she can. Nope, it's a character with Earth element. You need to use Raid. So we change to Raid, and let's do it again. You move the rock, and as you can see, it's working. You can improvise it the way you want, you can use it for puzzles and chain event and many things. This is just a very basic example of how you can use it. See how it fits and be creative. So that's the tutorial on how to make elemental based event in RPG Maker. There are so many ways you can use and improve this mechanic. I personally think it's a really good mechanic to incorporate in your game. It just gives more use on having multiple characters than just for battle and story. Well then, that's all I can share for today. I sincerely apologize if anything I said or did offended you. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Have a nice day.